Welcome to Gun News Review. With the recent push to ban guns in Canada, the country's top law enforcement official is expressing skepticism that a ban would make much difference. Royal Canadian Mounted Police Commissioner Brenda Lucki tells the Globe and Mail that she's not sure a complete ban is the answer. Lucki's comments come as the country's two largest cities are pressuring Ottawa to bolster its proposed firearms legislation. She said tweaking the current legislation to ensure more accountability is something that needs to be studied. A gun control initiative will not be on the November ballot in Washington state after a petition with 300,000 signatures for it was thrown out by a judge, saying the format did not follow election law. Thurston County Superior Court Judge James Dixon on Friday said the signature petitions for Initiative 1639 did not clearly identify what would change in the law, and the font was too small to be readable. He ordered the Secretary of State's office to stop certification of the ballot measure. The NRA and Bellevue-based Second Amendment Foundation had filed a lawsuit to get the initiative off the ballot, arguing the people who signed the petitions didn't know what it would do. 1639 would have raised the age for the purchase of semi-automatic rifles to 21 and expanded background checks for their purchase. It also would require gun buyers to complete a firearms safety training course and create standards for safely storing firearms. Israel's public security minister has drastically reduced restrictions on applications for gun permits. Under the new guidelines, veterans of IDF infantry units will now be eligible to request a gun permit, and officers and non-commissioned officers will no longer be required to return their gun permits or firearms after their release from active reserve duty. The minister said many civilians saved lives during terror attacks, and with more skilled civilians carrying guns, the chances of thwarting attacks without casualties will grow, and the number of casualties will decrease. Critics, though, of the new guidelines say they will drastically increase the number of guns on Israel's streets and will not reduce terror attacks. An Indiana furniture store owner turned the tables on a would-be armed robber last month, and it was all caught on camera. Indianapolis police say the suspect walked into the store last month, pulled out a gun, and demanded money from owner Doyle Stinson. The owner says he gave the suspect $10 from his wallet, but the suspect believed there would be more money in the office, so he marched Stinson to the back of the store. But that was a mistake for the would-be robber. Stinson tripped his silent alarm and pulled a .40 caliber handgun from where he had it stowed, pointing it at the suspect, who took off running. Stinson says he didn't shoot because there was a child outside. Police are still looking for that suspect. Police in Pflugerville, Texas, are releasing few details in a self-inflicted shooting at a gun range that left a person dead. That incident happened Sunday at Red's Indoor Range, which is about a dozen miles northeast of Austin. The city spokesperson said no foul play is suspected in what was an isolated incident. No other person was involved in the shooting. You're listening to Gun News Review. A Texas man was arrested at an airport in upstate New York on Saturday for allegedly having a gun without the proper state license. Police near Albany say the man was arrested at the Southwest Airlines ticket counter after deputies were called by an airline representative. Police say Scott Garvey had a Smith & Wesson SD9 VE in a case, and he declared, but he did not have a valid New York State pistol permit. Garvey was charged with criminal possession of a weapon in the fourth degree, a Class A misdemeanor. He was later released on $100 cash bail to appear in court. And an Ohio hunting advocacy group says hunting generates over $1 billion of economic activity each year in the state. Hunting Works for Ohio says hunters spend an average of $850 million, with $320 million on trip-related expenses and $274 million on equipment. Citing reports from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services and other organizations, Hunting Works says the overall economic impact of hunting in Ohio tops $1.4 billion annually. And it says tens of thousands of jobs are supported as a result. You've been listening to Gun News Review. Comprehensive and concise.